I want to share what's happening, what happens, what we learn, everything in life that as it happens. Because I was thinking about this, I'm like, I feel that this is privileged information if I share it, and is that right or not? But this all comes back to what you said, Michael. This is your statement, and this is I'll catch you up and everyone up in terms of what I'm talking about. But um, make her feel safe. Make her feel safe. Right. That paradigm and how it's come up over the last week is just mind blowing. The application for guys struggling with their daughters, ex-wives, partners. If every man just took that into consideration for every dealing they had with a woman, we would live in a better world. And
It's
so,
it's
yeah, go ahead.
absolutely true. I don't, and it's because it's feeling a need that's on their end. Um, it's everything that they, it's like everything they're complaining about or everything that's, how women worry. They say women worry.
That's it. And whether it's your mom, your sister, your friend, your ex-girlfriend, your ex-wife, your girlfriend, your wife,
Whether
that's
whether
that's it.
whether it's your first date or been married for 30 years. Say even on a first date, they're sitting there worrying if you're the right guy to be with.
Yeah,
Constant worrying. And that's where I came up with it is it's like that is their source for everything that comes out of their mouth. Not everything, but it's like 90% of the stuff they're always worried about something going wrong. And I and I don't know how true this is, but it sounds true. So I'll usually tell you when I feel like I'm making shit up or when I feel like I'm onto something. This I'm just kind of making this shit up. But if you think about it, like if that comes from a motherly instinct, say all that worrying comes from it's natural, like a motherly instinct where they can't control every situation. So they try to worry about every situation ahead of time so they can cut it off before they're trying to cut off a bad situation before their child gets injured or their child gets hurt emotionally, physically. I think it's wired. Maybe it's wired into their damn chromosomes to just,
that's exactly what I was thinking about this week. Is that their priority is different than our priority.
yeah,
Our
yeah,
priority is probably to ours is this. So we're all animals, right? Women band together for community, for that support, that collaboration, to feel safe. And so this is all the stuff that I've been thinking of with this phrase of how does this apply in life, and how I'm seeing it is bigger than I think you and I even understand. Or maybe you get it because this is
I wrote a book on it, bro.
your theory. I'll say that again.
I wrote a book on it.
Yeah, exactly. That's it. You wrote a book on it, and man, I didn't realize just how fundamental that is. And they want to feel safe. This is how they're wired. Men, on the other hand, want to feel respected.
Right.
And that's how you boil it down as a father in a job, as a provider in a household. And you feel respected when you make your woman feel safe.
Yeah.
That's the simplest way, I think, because of you, I have perspective on life. And if you could boil that down to every single husband, dad, boy out there, that's all you need to worry about is make her feel safe. That means being a good person, not gaslighting them, not doing all the other shit people do to just get by, to justify what they want to do in life. And why it's essential that you work on being better as a man. And I fucking love how the universe puts things in front of you. God, universe, higher power, whatever you want to call it. It's all the same. If you haven't figured that out, you will at some point. We can argue about this endlessly. Happy to have those conversations with anybody that wants to have that conversation. I, as you know, I've been in monk mode. I'm doing even my kids are with their mom full time right now to allow me the time and space to be able to build up what I'm doing and get off this treadmill and to create something that helps those who are creating better outcomes in society. That's everything I do, and I've got the skills and knowledge. I've been blessed with things to be able to help these organizations. And and so I haven't even considered dating. I haven't gone out with anybody in 6, 7, 8 months since
Really?
early fall. And so early April, I get a call from a neighbor of one of my rental properties. And they want to they want to replace the fence. And ultimately I don't want to. Well, I'm indifferent. I'm like, yeah, if it needs to be done, let's do it. Let me come down. Let's meet, take a look at it. Is it on the property line? I'll dig up the survey and we'll go from there. So I go and meet the neighbor, and we end up just standing outside talking for like an hour. And she's just this really kind, good looking woman. I never know when to say girl or woman. To me, I default to, yeah, she's a good looking girl, but a woman, right?
I try to say woman all the time.
Woman, yeah. Okay, so I need to switch to that habit because it's more appropriate. So
Just
so we
go ahead.
message back and forth in terms of detail, different quote she's got in, and then she's down to two quotes, and we've been talking back and forth. I just feel just somebody I enjoy talking with, whether it's via email or the couple phone calls we had or meeting in person. And I told her flat out, listen, if it's on my property line, you're not getting anything from me. Or if it's on our property line, yeah, for sure, I'll split it. If it's not my property line, I'm not doing it because I'm just very transparent. And the more transparent you are and manage people's expectations, you don't have drama in life. Zero drama if you're just straightforward and transparent. So I find the survey, it's on the line, send it to her, and then we're down to two options. She's got a higher quote and a lower quote. And I put it out to her as higher quote, you buy drinks, lower quote, I'll buy drinks. And and so we went out for drinks.
Oh,
And
okay.
then and so this is a few weeks ago. Go out for drinks, have a great time. Like just somebody that's really emotionally mature, sophisticated, easygoing. Like if I could make a checklist, it's really good. We go out again another time, and it's not drinks and dinner. I suggest, hey, let's go out, let's go for a walk, let's go for a hike, do something active, and then we grab a drink and some food, and then we go to the drive-in, and then and this is why I'm late. Then so last night we're at the drive-in, and then today she forgot her wallet in my car, and they came to pick it up. And then I've got some nice path and waterfalls. I'm like, when you come to pick it up, why don't we go for a walk? Gets me outside, and I try to get out and do something active, especially time in nature, at least once a day or at least 5 times a week as a target. We go and she's just sharing stuff on her past relationship and really opening up, and I didn't want to rush it. We came back, I made some food, we had supper, and goes into um past partner who just was not making her feel safe. And even what she's saying, everything you're saying led down to just feeling safe. And whether it's through honesty, having transparent discussions when you get asked questions by your partner, by a woman, it comes down to safety. And it's funny, you said this I was still in Florida last Sunday. You said that statement. It just stuck in my head. I've had so many conversations this week revolving around different circumstances with women, not specifically me, but other people's challenges and a lack of making them feel safe. And then just had this really in-depth revealing of things as she was sharing this with me, and realizing that is so fundamentally important for every man and woman out there. If you're not making her feel safe, if you're not paying attention to the things she's saying to you, where she's looking for that reassurance or asking questions, if every guy just understood she just wants to feel safe, it wouldn't be why is she prying? Why is she suspicious? Why is she insecure? Why does she have to be like that? Why can't she just leave me alone? Why can't I just do what I want to do? If if every guy just looked at the questions with, well, she just wants to feel safe. Boom.
That's it.
That's it.
She's looking for you to give her that feeling. Now it manifests itself in different ways all the time, but it's always the same kind of source, the same core. But that you said something in there about lying, like, and this is why I tell people you can't fucking lie. Just remove lying out of your life. There's there's always a way to say something. There's always a way to say the truth, even if it's going to hurt them. There's always a way to go ahead and tell the truth, and it's always better than lying because lying does the opposite. I mean, if you're lying, you're hiding. That's creating insecurity. That is the opposite of safety,
Yeah.
and the lies start to just stacking up, and then the you're doing the opposite whenever you lie. And then the other thing to telling the truth. There's so many reasons, so many advantages to telling the truth. But even if you tell the truth about something that's going to hurt her, it garners respect. Like she,
Yes. Yeah.
they people, and this is in relationships and anything. When you tell the truth, especially when it's hard, you gain respect. And the more like eloquent you are that with telling the truth in a difficult situation, people's respect, and especially in a romantic relationship, you get so much respect from that woman whenever you tell the truth, whether it hurts or I mean, some things are hurtful no matter what, but the lie is always more hurtful than the truth in the long run.
Yeah. And I wish we could have some women here just to answer the question of, when she asks, do I look fat in these jeans? I don't have to answer that yet. I'm sure that you've got a pretty good way to sort that out. But lying is, if you want to make your life harder, lie.
Yeah.
Tell one lie because then you have to remember it, and then how to protect that lie and how to stack other lies on top of it and more and more and more, and it'll come out. There's nothing you can do to keep that buried forever because it will come up in some way. So we'll ask you a question that's 2 degrees or some tertiary 4 times ripple away that you don't even think about. What did you do that night, or something that you bought or have, and realize, oh, wait a minute, you couldn't have done that because you said you got a flat tire that night and weren't able to come. It's just a waste of time. Just come out and say the shit that you're supposed to say. That's the truth, because you're just going to make your life so much harder. And this is a hard part though. My daughter, Santa Claus, my daughter. So I've got a son and a daughter. My daughter will probably forever hold it over me or be resentful or angry that I lied about Santa Claus,
Huh.
and brings it up at least 3 times a year. Like, it comes up, and I don't have a solution for that. I tell her like the magic of Santa, like what it represents of Christmas, and I'm not Christian, but just the magic of it all. Of For me, what it represents is coming together, family, of being able to give to others that don't have, to be able to light up your kids' faces with something that is meaningful, and everyone to celebrate really family. And that's what it's about for me. And but that doesn't work for her still. She's like, but you still lie to me.
Yeah.
And it's because a part of her will never fully trust me because I told her that. And I didn't make her feel safe. She just wanted to feel safe and wants to feel safe. And that's a fracture I still have to figure out how to solve. But women, compared to my son, it's just like, yeah, well, I figured it out. Like, doesn't care, just brushes it off because he's more focused on where he's going, and I feel women are more focused on what's around them. And a cheat I have is watching. I can see the reels that my kids like, and Instagram shows you that, and the more you check out or spend time on the reels people follow, it'll show you more of them. So I get to see what my kids like. And it's a secret I don't want them to know. It's not a secret, but it's a trick I don't want to be revealed to them because I get insights into life. And
Look
what
up
I see my daughter liking is all community based things, her connections with her friends. It's the safety thing compared to what my son likes.
look up look up the story of Saint Nicholas,
Okay.
the actual Saint Nicholas. That's where Santa Claus is partially a big
Right.
portion. It, he existed. He was a human. He was an Orthodox saint. He's one of my favorite saints.
Okay.
And there's a real interesting story. Saint Nicholas punched the Prince of Egypt and went to jail. They were,
Interesting. He was Turkish.
they were
St.
arguing.
Nicholas is Turkish.
They were arguing. Yeah. So yeah, the Nicene Creed that came in Constantinople in Turkey in the year 349, where Saint Nicholas actually got an argument about Jesus and punched the prince. But more that's just one story. Um, he actually did it. He gave gifts. I mean, he was the original Santa Claus. Just look it up and then maybe just present her that story, whenever she's ready for it.
Okay.
Because he's that's what he did in his life was give bags of money. That's the story. He went around town giving bags of money to people who needed it. That's a big part of his story. Um,
Okay.
you know, maybe you'll go through that story. Maybe you can find a way to ease
I
that.
will. I will because it's really important that I smooth that out in some way because her personality type is she does good. She lives by her own high standards and is really honorable and isn't has strong boundaries and expects the same sort of behavior reciprocated from the people around her. So that's something I need to figure out
Really
how
have
to crack. So yeah, okay, thank you. I will look into the original story of Saint Nicholas and
that's the original Saint Nicholas. So you can tell her that you weren't lying. He really was real.
and we've talked about the history of Santa, Saint Nick, the colors, his outfit changes, the influence of Coca Cola, but haven't gotten into his history. But okay, how did you have that so readily available?
Um, this is well, I told you he's one of my favorite saints. I've got Saint Michael's the Archangel. Michael is my patron saint. Then
Okay,
Saint James is my son's patron saint. Um, so they're and I've always loved that story about Saint Nicholas. So I don't I don't remember where I got this one, but it was hanging on the wall over there. Uh,
okay, I'll, I'll do it.
1% better. That's what we were talking about.
Yes, yes. And I've thought about this in a few ways because 1% better, and everything connects with people in a different way. You could say the same message to somebody over and over every day, and then they'll hear it differently from someone else, and it all clicks. And so I was thinking through things. It's not just, yeah, there's different ways to say it. And actually, I forgot the different things I came up with, but it's how to be better every day. Call it growth minded, calling it having an abundance mindset, call it motivated or disciplined. It's all the same thing. Is what am I doing that breaks the status quo so I can do what? why do you even want to be better? What's that motivation? Is it so that you can lead a better, healthier life? Is so that you can be a better partner, so that you can contribute more to society, so that you can be a better father? And it's identifying this is the twist, Michael, that I found in my life is it's really tricky. So I really I want to hear your input on this. For an athlete, it's what you're doing well, what you need to improve on. For high performance athletes, soldiers, anyone that's in a competitive arena, you're constantly looking at what you're not doing right. And so the lens is focused on the negative as opposed to what you've done well. You walk away, right? I've got this down. I've got this technique down. This is easy. You lock it away. It's done. And you focus on where you need to improve. And this can be detrimental and harmful in a way, but what's your lens in terms of being better every day? Are you focused on doing better what you're already good at, or are you trying to improve where you're not so good?
Well, when you send across 1% better, I know this is a book that is
I love that book. Yeah.
pretty popular. Um, so I guess I do both. I do, I apply 1% better, the idea of the atomic habits to like that we have a baseline that we have to maintain of our health, first of all, mental health, physical health. Um, so my atomic habits really center around that: sleep, food, diet, exercise. And then there's always an area of growth. There's always an area where I'm trying to improve. Shit.
Okay.
Yeah, already. This is what I'm working on right now. This is all Dale Carnegie.
Yes.
So I need to get better at public speaking. And I have my first real keynote is in 2 days. So
Wow. Congratulations.
so right now you have your baseline things where physical health, I'm going every day to the gym. I just do a brief gym session, but I do it every day. That's a part of my morning routine every day. And then your diet, your meal prep. This is your baseline everyday atomic habits. But 1% better right now for me in an area of growth is this. This is all books by Dale Carnegie on speaking. So every day I am rereading out loud every page of all these books to help prepare for this speech. And this reading out loud thing is something I've started like a year ago. It really helped me present my words better. And
Okay.
I've noticed that if I stop, I kind of revert. I will revert back to the old me. So just I got to take that time, that 15 to 20 minutes every morning and read out loud in order to keep my voice engaging, articulative, all of that.
Okay.
So yeah,
There's
we've got to maintain our status quo, but then when you do find an area of improvement, a lot of people will they immediately see the destination. I
mm,
wish I could be that right there. I could never be that, or how did it looks impossible. Where in reality is everybody who got that, they worked at it every day for a long period of time. So that's the plan. How bad do you want that? What are you willing to sacrifice to get it on a daily basis? And then you just start doing it 1% at a time until you get there.
yeah, well put. What are you willing to sacrifice? Because everything comes as a trade-off
Yeah.
of time, of some other thing that you're doing. You're cutting out Netflix, you're cutting out something else. And that's a really important point because you can't just cut something out. So someone who uh wants to cut out shitty food in their diet or wants to quit smoking, it's not about just cutting it out. You have to replace it with something. So what are you replacing it with? Is it with movement? Is it with mindfulness? Are you sucking on a straw for a smoker? Is it going outside or calling somebody? Really, really good point. And being able to, what's it for? What's that motivating factor that's keeping you engaged? Why are you doing it in the first place? And the other thing that struck out that you shared that I am not good at is I have a tendency to take on many things at once, initially to my detriment for me in the long run. So after an extended period, it all comes together and accelerates me. But I think for most people and even for myself, it's better if you do one thing at a time. And even one of my coaches on Thursday had a call, and something he's been trying to drive into my head that I'm having a hard time accepting and following is, and he's right because it's not the only time I've heard, is one hallway, one door. And by that, it's whether it's a business venture, whether it's a habit, do that one thing. Get really good at that one thing by the focus, the practice, the repetition, so that you just really up leveling on one thing and then move on to the next thing, but understand what it means to reach that point of graduation or success. Exactly what you say, your public speaking practice, the books, man, those are a lot of books. That's a big stack. And Dale Carnegie's the man. He's the one that established that influencing others, public speaking, how to connect with people, being able to have steps to follow to get there. And someone I want to acknowledge that I've learned from is Sean Callaghy. So I'm part of a community called Unblinded, led by Sean Callaghy, who's a phenomenal human in what he's doing. And his mission is to create leaders who create leaders who create leaders to make the world a better place. And he teaches something called integrity-based human influence. And part of it is taking, not part of it, but what he did and has done is taking all the teachings from all these great leaders and people and books over the years to synthesize it into what were the main principles of everything that are relevant in today's world to be able to speak and to be able to create influence. And you talked about the energy. So in Sean Callaghy's teachings, he talks about four energies and the the varying of those energies when you're talking to an individual or a group, and he refers to them as Zeus energy, goddess energy, fun energy, and aspirational energy. And he's gone through them in detail, and he's got videos in. So if you can find these videos where he's broken down Martin Luther King, he's broken down all these great speakers to show how they've incorporated these different energies, and that's been really good. And we can talk about this offline, Michael, especially about that the first few minutes of a speech, how to engage your audience and getting starting with that fun energy, because fun energy opens listening. Anyone that opens with a joke, you're paying attention. It's like, okay, this guy's interesting. You know, it's just not another speaker. But then aspirational energy with a conditional statement, such as what if? What if you could? What if you could understand women better? And it just gets people thinking because it's like, well, wait, yeah, sign me up. Like that's a bit of a mystery to me. Um, but he pulled all these things from Dale Carnegie and other people that spoke or have written books on speaking. So I've gotten a lot out of that, from his teachings, from that community, and then practicing it.
Yeah, it's interesting how if you want to be good at it, you definitely need to be prepared and your brain is weird. What we do in coaching, I say this is mindset work. And your brain, I'm about to give you an example where um, this happened to me today, right? Um, our minds control so much, and you A lot of what we do in our practices is really like subconscious mindset work. And you don't think of it as being that big a deal until it is. Like today, after church, we went and we were at the restaurant, and just all of a sudden, my godfather he said, "Hey, Michael, lead us in prayer." I was like, "Okay." And there's six of us, and I went to the Jesus prayer, which is it's a very short prayer that I always lead with, and that's what I was going to start with. And I've said it 2,000 times this year. I've said that prayer. And right there in that moment, it vanished. It was gone. I could not recall it. It was just, I was not ready. I was not ready to be put on the spot, I guess. I don't know, man, but it was so damn frustrating. My mind just failed me, just completely failed me right there in that moment on a prayer that I say every single day, multiple times a day. I couldn't recall it.
Why? Why do you think that happened?
That's just, well, I guess
Do you
it's
think it's the pressure, stress, pressure?
the pressure. And I noticed with my mind, because this happened to me the other day too, at I was at the networking event and I was mid thought, and the host grabbed me and said, "Hey, come and introduce yourself to 45 people." And I finished my thought from the conversation I was having with the other person to
Oh,
the group.
yeah.
Right? And then I felt like such a freaking idiot. But I guess the point is it's our minds are more in control than you kind of really realize. And that's where when I'm working with my guys, that's where the journaling is so important. The reading is so important. Reading out loud, writing down your thoughts, repetition, getting your mind prepared for those moments, because when the
Yep.
pressure's on, yeah, when the pressure's on, you can cave or avoid it. The fear will overtake your lack of preparation, and just boom, you're done. You're out of that moment. You're just could
It's
not
true.
respond, were not prepared, could not respond. And I guess that's what happened today at lunch. I just was so caught off guard. Something that should be there. Yeah, I just couldn't come. Couldn't recall.
There's one of my close army buddies, hard NFL fan. The stuff he showed me for the discipline of NFL athletes, he's like, Kenneth, you do not understand. Like, just the next level training, mindset, effort, repetition of these guys and the skill level. And so he shows over the years, he's shown me things. I'm like, holy shit, like what these guys do. No wonder there's so much attention on these guys, because the intensity and how athletic these guys are, and they don't, it's from the work. And the thing that take away from those conversations, and something he would say, well, two things is nothing ever good happens after midnight. And what NFL players are conditioned to know is come back home, because your career is going to end for anything that happens after midnight. The second thing is separation is the greatest, no, preparation is the greatest separation. The difference between what you can achieve and anyone else is preparation. And just in listening to you, I'm thinking back to my martial arts days of being able to get hit by different martial arts that come from different styles. When you see them come into the ring, or the ref, drops his hand and starts. And I just remember pictures of Muay Thai fighters who come at you with the bounce. And the first time I saw that was what is about to happen to me, and the intensity of look on this guy's face. And just learning how I was prepared to know, okay, this guy does that. There are more legs. He's going to do this, and come at me. I know how to protect myself, and I know how to come after him. And other styles of martial artists. And then really you do enough of that, you just become more flexible in terms of how to respond. And the military and the army, we have something called the 17 steps of battle procedure. And you go through everything. And one of the steps is rehearsals. It's rehearsing how it's going to go down. Because the more that's ingrained into you, it's intuitive. And then you can just react as opposed to having to use that mental energy to assess what's happening. What do I do now? What's everyone else doing? You've done the drills. Everyone's trained the same way, and you react, and it's less fight, or sorry, less freeze. You don't get that flight or freeze reaction in your nervous system because you're trained to just step into it and go. And then something else came up was the different strategies I've learned in my life where I will create that space. And for me, it's always, okay, three things. I don't need to do anything more than three things. Three things in my speech, three things to communicate, three things to remember. But I need to create that space. So when I would get pulled from one space to another, where that happened to you today, they're like, come speak. As I'm trying to gauge what's happening, who are the people around me, what's expected of me, I always have developed the way to create that gap. So if I was in class or in a meeting and I was asked a question, they'd be like, Hinesh, what do you think? Or Hinesh, what about you? My immediate reaction, because it's the reps and it's the training, the preparation, immediate reaction is about which part. So that's my magic question that I put out that forces them to repeat the question and gives me that breathing room to be able to come up with the answer. And then in a group setting, when I get pulled into a group setting, I always ask, okay, catch me up. What were you guys talking about? And then everybody in a circle will start going through, well, we're talking about this. And then if I'm still thinking or trying to understand, okay, how am I supposed to fit in here? I'll ask a couple of questions as they get into to just give me that breathing room to prepare, because it is preparation's everything.
Back to the 1% better thing. While you're talking, it reminded me of a story. And you may be able to speak to this better from your military background. Um, so I've done a lot of, like, I guess, intense hunting, I guess. I don't know, where we're going in the dark, we're coming out in the dark, or I'm alone in the dark, traveling over miles to get, back to camp or whatever. Um, and in the mountains too. Even though I'm sitting here in Texas, I'm taking a lot of trips to the mountains, but that fear creeps in that you you get lost. Am I lost? I don't, how far do I have to go? You've got your map, or especially in the mountains, it's different up there because the elevation, and you're not using your cell phone. You've got a compass and a paper map, and you've got 2 miles of a journey. And there's one instance that I really remember where it started raining and it was cold. And I'm on top of a mountain. I've got 2 miles to get back, and it's uphill, and I'm lost. I come up to and it's back to the kind of 1% better. And those moments have happened a lot, but it's one step at a time. Yes, the goal's in mind. Yes, it's a long ways off. You're trying to get over there. Yes, it's raining, it's cold, you're lost. But if you just focus on, just make sure you're go in the right direction, take your time, get your bearing, 13 degrees north is going to get me to camp if I go one step at a time. Just get the flashlight on the step in front of you. Take that step, take that step, take that step. And then eventually the confidence comes back. and,
Yeah.
and that's how you can apply that to so many situations where doubt, or concern or fear starts to creep in. Your goal seems miles and a possibility away from you. But as long as you're on that heading, that path, that journey is true, just focus on the next Very next step, just put your flashlight on right, 2 feet in front of you and walk 2 feet, and then take that next,
Yes.
and then that next step, and as long as you know you're going the right way, or at least partially the right way.
Partially. That's it. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's progress. It's progress. I had some really hard times, including not being able to move, for just riddled with inflammation, with severe psoriatic arthritis, couldn't move, couldn't think. That stuff. Inflammation's horrible and what it does to you and the psychological triggers. But I had progress like every day. Did I make progress in any way, any single way to just be able to start breaking out of it?
Right.
And there are two things. Someone told me how to eat an elephant,
Yeah.
one bite at a time. And there's a fable about a horse walking a boy in a fog, and the boy is leading the horse and stops and can't move any further and doesn't know what to do. And the horse just asks him, "Can you see your feet?" He's like, "Yes, I can see my feet." "Can you see right in front of your foot?" The boy looks down. He's like, "Yes, I can see the ground just in front of my foot." The horse says, "Then just take one step." That's it. Take one step. And I had a hard time with this is, well, I need clarity. I need to be able to map out every single fucking detail, because how do I know that the next steps really leads to the next and ultimately my overall objective, um which leads to perfectionism or just failure and stalling because you feel you need all this detail. You don't. You get clarity when you take that step. It's just like a child learning to walk. They don't know why they are learning to walk, but they know what they want for some reason. They get up and they stand up, they're holding something, they take another step, they're holding something, and soon they're not holding anything. They take a step and then they fall. But then they get up and try it again. They don't know why, but they're doing it. That's all you need to do.
Just
That's your clarity, is just being able to move forward. And if it might be the wrong direction, but now you know that's not the direction you're going. So you're going to pick one of the other three directions. That's all that matters, is just take the step.
yeah, yeah. Uh, it reminds me of a guy I was talking to right before this call. I've been reaching out to people. Hey, we're having these calls. I've been trying to find avenues for. There's so many men out there who are stuck. They know they're stuck. They don't want to admit to anyone that they're stuck. Um, and then when you try to press them on it, they get defensive. Um, so that's one reason why we come up with this. That's why I wanted to come up with this, was like, look, here's something we can offer for free, for absolutely nothing. Like, there is no kind of obligation other than put your phone on mute and put it down and listen, and
That's
just.
it. Yeah, just listen.
And right before this call, I had a guy's been following me forever. I know him well. So stuck in his life, so stuck in his misery, and just isolated. Like, he just, I may be the only person he talks to every once in a while, maybe me and someone else. And the life that he's settling for like hurts my heart because I'm like, dude, there's so much more. And you're saying, dude refuses to join this call, absolutely refuses. I'm like, you don't have to. It, and I don't know, and that hurts me even more. Like, well, that's just not my thing. I'm like, what the fuck are you talking about? It's like, you're. I don't understand this mindset where it's you're miserable, but you're more afraid of what's outside of your own misery
Mm.
than you are to just live inside your discomfort and your misery and your, that's what this call is supposed to be, is just like just a soft introduction to some new angles on life to get
To
you
what's possible.
what else is possible. So let's do. I wanted to get to. You can see behind me here.
Yes, yes.
Uh, when you sent that, it didn't catch me as something that you would send. Because I don't when I first read that, we are not excuse makers. We do not have a victim mentality.
No,
I know a lot of guys would read that and go, "Yeah, what about, they would." What were you thinking when you sent this? Because I know a lot of guys would read that and feel like better, like
that's it. You're absolutely right because I don't talk about the negatives. I don't complain. I don't play the victim. I don't point to the stats and the reality. I got involved in this because of the stats and the reality, realizing, holy shit, this is why the world is the way it is. And it's on my website under resources. I've got all these statistics for the production of incarcerated people, of rapers, or rapists, of homeless people, of suicides. But what I found working with men and someone else you and I have talked about who won't join the calls, who I've been having calls with, just doesn't want to come to a call that sets that tone, accountability, and that learning where you can passively listen. I don't understand. And I know we both are challenged with this because it's what we've seen, but we're still committed to this. So when I saw that, I was in thinking of today's calls, going through my phone a bit, saved images, and I just stopped there. And it's funny, I wasn't immediately sent it to you. It was it's on my phone for a reason. I'll just share it. Which normally I send some context or note with it. I just sent it to you.
yeah.
It was a reminder for why we do what I do, what we do, and the unfortunate reality of men not stepping up to take action for their own lives because they're not enough pain. The reason people make a choice to change what they're doing in life is because they're facing or in a significant amount of pain that makes it uncomfortable, or they can actually forecast the pain they're about to experience if they don't make changes.
See,
And men don't change.
when you look at these stats behind me, the people that won't join these calls, they're the ones in these fucking shitty stats. I mean, these are terrible stats, and it's the truth. But I, they're the ones. It's not the people that are doing something about it that are going to be one of these statistics. I don't know what to do. I, I just wanted to mention it. So your guy is it accountability? Is it you know, just like my guys call and tell me and talk to me personally. But I don't know, this feels like a step away from that comfort zone. And that in itself says, no, not doing it. I don't know. I'm asking that.
I'm just thinking of when there is participation in groups I'm in is when someone throws out something bad that's happened to him and all the guys are just like, yeah, she's horrible, this is why, this women are this and this, but no one's saying, at no point do people step up to say, hey, maybe you should do this, maybe you should work on yourself, maybe you should focus on your kids, maybe you should take the higher road, maybe you should set the example, maybe you should have personal boundaries for yourself where you're not staying up late watching Netflix, drinking to wake up ineffective for work and then complain about your kids and do it all over again. And yeah, I get it. You're having a hard fucking time. Like, life's rough, but there's a certain point where you mourn, you wallow in your own self fucking pity, and then you look yourself in the mirror and say, I don't like this. Something's got to change. And then start making, taking the steps, making the decisions to change, which means first acknowledging it, set those boundaries for yourself of, okay, well, I'm going to go to bed at 10 every night so I can wake up at least rested. I'm going to surround myself with better people and I'm going to find the influences that help me instead of being anchored down by the people that just feed this negativity. And that's the hard part because it's comfortable. You're around people that commiserate with you and that will talk shit about your ex-wife, that will have those beers and smokes and joints and other things with you. But that's not the long-term fix. It's really hard to get out of that. I've been there. It's hard to get out of that. And there's so many men. There's so many guys out there. I don't have an answer. I just hope that, as long as we just keep doing what we're doing and be able to help guys. We're not, this is free. It's stuff that we research every week that we put together. We help people on the side. We probably give away more help and services than any other service of this kind. So yeah, we'll see. And and here's the other thing is it tough love or is it kind and compassionate? I don't know. You just,
I just
because if for guys are close to me, if I call them out on things, depending on what they are, I guess there's a way to do it as well. So you don't want to scare them away where they shut down even further. It's being able to like, I just want the best for you. Like, let's do this together. Let's get you to the place where you need to be.
the thing that gets me about it. Here's the thing that really gets me about it is I've been there. We've all been there. I've been there. They've been there. Like, and I'm thinking of people I know. That would refuse to do this, but they're struggling. Like, all as a man, look at this list behind us. Look at this list behind me right here. Our lives are pretty damn difficult. There are moments in just making it. Like, you have to deal with a level of rejection, a level of failure, to even an average, say whatever average is, say making your average income and you're working your 40 hours a week, and the level of rejection and failure that took to get that job,
True.
to graduate high school, to get that degree, or to even land the first wife or whatever,
Yeah.
things, uh, the stuff you had to go through to get to even the average level is harder, so much harder than what it takes to start to blossom, like to put down your pride and then just start kind of looking. These other steps are way easier than it took to get you where you are. And I don't know if there's a better way to reframe that. I just made that shit up. But I
But
ended
you're right. You're right, right? Because women have their power, especially say in your 20s. You're coming out of high school, post secondary, and you're dating and trying to meet women. The level of effort for you to look good, smell good, be fit, get out there, spend the money, whatever. That's a huge amount of effort. And then to take a girl out again and again, date and go over it several times. That's significant amount of effort. Yeah.
yeah, the and I'm just thinking back to like my 20s, before, just sitting at the table in the boardroom, at my first job after my college degree. There's a lot of men who have a college degree, and that level of effort was way harder than it takes to just get 1% better to show up and really do the 1% better and allow things to accumulate. These guys are just, I don't know what they're stuck on. They're just stuck. And to me, it's fear. I don't know. They're afraid of
It's
they're afraid of something that's so small. If they would just embrace it, I
I
don't.
I no, you're right. It's absolute fear. And just as you walk me through that thinking of to initially find that mate or partner, to the job interviews, like learning the process, the applications, that is grueling when you break it down for what you needed to learn, how to prepare for them for every job, how to write the application or the cover letters, and do that over and over and over and over again. to then come to this point, but that's what just clicked is the fear of failure because you've just gotten kicked down so badly that it's easier to stay there because if you don't try, you can't fail.
Yeah.
And if you don't try, you're not getting rejected. And it does come down to fear. Everything is down to two emotions, love or fear. And fear is the depression, the anxiety, the doubt. Oh, right. That's something you mentioned earlier, which is I talk to myself and I record my self coaching, I guess, in terms of breaking down whatever's holding me back and realizing where I'm held back by fear. And it comes down to a fear of rejection or a fear of failure. And this is something else that Sean Callaghy teaches, where he's boiled down these principles of you don't take action because of that fear. And so I was trying to figure out, okay, well, this is where I'm being held up. And so what's the precursor to fear? How do I avoid getting to fear? I was like, doubt. Oh, it's doubt. And then how do I avoid doubt? It's having clarity, which is why I was probably really passionate talking about just taking that one step. Doesn't matter what the direction it is, and understand my overthinking and tendencies of perfectionism, which then leads to procrastination, which is a fear of failure. And then you see how this whole circle's coming around and then having to come out of it. Okay, it's the doubt of me being able to think I can succeed. And so I need that clarity, but clarity really is just taking a step. It's this progress. So I think that's where men are. It's ego, it's pride, it's a fear of failure, it's a fear of rejection. It's you can't get ridiculed or told you suck. And these guys have gone beaten down by whether it was their partner or other things. Someone left them, someone had committed their life to them, left them, and now they're thinking they're just fearful of everything.
Yeah, and I'm gonna end on this one, but it's just most of those same guys have already been through so much shit that's so much harder, but they did it out of necessity because if they didn't, they couldn't eat. If they didn't, they're going to get be on the street. So there wasn't an option. There was no option. So you just you've got to you've got to get the job and you've got to get the money, but then they just stop and they settle and I guess you get your product of your environment and if everybody is just kind of doing that bare minimum and you're comfortable, you'll go ahead and do that. But now you're talking
Yeah.
about leaving the pack. And I
Mm.
guess the further you get away from the pack, no matter how there's more fear out here, out on your own. Anyway, man. Okay. Um, that's that. You got anything?
Now, you've given me a lot to think about again. So to the guys out there is it's hard. Um, being a grown up's hard. Come to the table. Just listen.
People say that, and it is hard if you don't prepare. If you don't, if you prepare, like I don't feel sorry for people because you see it coming. You see your problems coming. Every fucking problem, you knew it was coming. You knew it was there, and you sat on your hands and you avoided it. And really, if it all hits you all at the same time and you're not and you didn't have a chance to prepare, yeah, it is hard. But if you're just getting prepared for what you got to do, it's really not that hard. And you can't be a teenager forever. You can't be 12 forever. It's like that's
Now,
yes.
no, it's a slippery slope. It's hard to come out of that. I think we're more resilient, or certain people, if they don't keep up with that preparation, training, mental, physical, spiritual training to be prepared all the time, coming back out of that's hard. And figuring out what that step is, then you just become beat down and don't know what the next step is. It's easier to just do nothing. And so, yeah, I agree that it's hard. People just need the guidance to support the leadership. It's here.
Yeah, it's
It's
here.
here.
That's what this is every Sunday. we're here. All right, man.
Yeah.
I'll see you.
Okay. Have a good night. Take care, everybody.
All right, bye.